Hello everyone, my name is Max Mueller-Langer from Maximus Prime Films, and welcome to the first episode of Prime Tutorials. Today, we're going to cover all of the editing basics, from importing your footage to your software, to cutting and trimming, volume adjustment in soundtracks, inserting transitions, title sequences, and exporting your final project. For this tutorial, I'm going to be using Final Cut Pro 10. If you don't own this particular kind of software, or you own a different brand, don't worry. Oftentimes they're very similar in terms of appearance and functionality. It just requires a little extra navigation. Let's preface this tutorial with a brief tour. As you can see, the software is separated into 3 sections. The left-hand side here is where you can find all of your raw clips and footage, as well as your music, whether it's from iTunes or your custom-made tracks on GarageBand, and built-in sound effects and photos, as well as title templates with various effects to choose from to suit whatever vibe you're going for with your video. Alongside it is the viewfinder, and this is where you can watch all the playback from your raw clips or final project. And speaking of the final project, we're going to be editing it and putting it together in the timeline below. As you can see though, the timeline's looking a little empty. It's time to add some footage to it. Alright, enough small talk. It's time to edit. The goal here is to make a short, sweet, and smooth edit without any continuity errors. So let's begin by selecting the first clip, which is me drinking a glass of water. As you can tell, I'm enjoying that glass. Now, I've selected this clip by clicking it, and a yellow border has surrounded the thumbnail, which means it's ready to use. So simply hold down the left mouse button and drag it down your timeline. Easy peasy, you now have a clip ready to edit, ready to go. Now, if you want to watch it on your viewfinder, just press the spacebar. So here I am, sitting down, and I'm looking into the camera a couple times to adjust the shot and make sure it's correct. This is a huge no-no in film, and we need to get rid of that. So how do we do that? Well, you can trim. Trimming is one of the easiest ways to edit and to cut down your footage, or to extend it if you like. In this case, we're trying to trim it inward. So simply hover your mouse over the left side of this clip here, and you'll see this arrow symbol. Just click and drag. I want to start it around here, before I pick the glass of water up. Let's do the same for the end, because as you can see, there's a lot of cartilage, for lack of a better term. I want to end it around here. Okay, now let's watch the playback again. Pretty straightforward, right? That's trimming. Now, how you edit your clips stylistically is entirely up to you. I myself prefer a little bit of variety. So let's add another shot. Here's a close-up of me drinking the glass of water again. Drag it down, and there you have it. The clip is now in the timeline, but they're alongside each other, and I kind of want them to blend with one another. How do we do that? Well, it's pretty straightforward. We're going to go to cutting. So how you cut, there's 2 ways to go about it to access the blade tool. You can go to this drop-down list right here and just click on blade. There you go, you're ready to cut. And if you want to change back to your cursor, just select, well, select. Easy peasy, right? There's an even easier way to do it. Hotkeys. If you press B, you have your blade. If you press A, you have your cursor. Straightforward, right? So I'm going to press B, and I'm going to cut around here. Before I insert the second clip in between, I'm going to trim it down a little to about here. And same goes for the end. There's a lot of unnecessary bits. Right here. Okay. So then left mouse click, drag, and drop. It will automatically snap between the 2 clips. They're now separated because of the blade tool, and that's the beauty of it. You don't have to drag or anything like you do with trimming. Just simply press B, hover over the clip, and click. And that's all there is to it. You'll see the jagged line, and that's how you know the cut was successful. Okay, so I'm just going to undo that because we don't need that specific cut. Let's see how it turned out. There you have it. Brand new sequence, edited and all. But let's add one more angle just to spice it up a little bit more. How about this shot where I'm putting the glass of water back down? Okay, so let's pull up the blade again by pressing B. I want it to be about here. Okay, the clips are now separated again. Let's grab this one right here, drag and drop. Now let's trim it to make sure it lines up correctly. Again, we don't want any continuity errors. So we want my hand out of frame like so. And let's also adjust the end right here. And adjust this clip just in case, to make sure everything is lined up correctly. Alright, now let's watch the playback. And there you have it. A nice clean edit. You guys now know how to trim and to cut. Now it's on to the next step, which is volume adjustment. So you can increase and decrease volume in a number of ways, but the easiest way is to simply go down to the blue bar beneath the clip here. This is where you can find all the sound waves and adjust the volume. Once your cursor turns into two opposing arrows pointing up and down, that's how you know you can adjust. So simply hold down the left mouse button and drag downward. The clip is now fully muted. I'm going to do the same for all the other clips. And now, if you watch it on the viewfinder, all the shots are perfectly silent. But to some, this may seem kind of dull. How do we spice that up? Well, click on this icon here on the top left, and we can select a song. Now, I'm using the sound effects for this one because if you use music from iTunes, there's the risk of, breaching copyright infringement. So we're going to use sound effects. You're probably wondering, how can I make a song with sound effects? Well, I don't have to necessarily. I just need to type in jingle to the search bar, and a bunch of jingles, built-in ones, will pop up on this list here. I don't need any particular track, so I'm just going to pick this one, Vino. And like the clips, simply just drag and drop. Let's give it a listen to see how it sounds. Seems appropriate. Okay. Now, clips, you can trim them, you can cut them. Same applies to audio as well. So we're going to pull out the blade tool. Just go right down to the end here and click. All you got to do now is just drag to highlight and hit delete to get rid of those clips, and they're gone forever. All right. So now we have our audio and clips at an identical length. They're synced with one another. Perfect. You now know how to add soundtracks and to decrease volume. Now it's time to add titles. Nothing fancy, just some basic title stuff here. I like to pick custom because you can make whatever type of title you like. And like the clips, drag and drop. You can also cut and trim these as well. So we're just going to shorten this a little to about here. Okay. Now, I've moved the needle over this, and you can see that there's the word title. For our video, that's not going to cut it. So let's edit that. All you got to do is just double click. Now see, my needle likes to goof around and mess with me, and now it's over this clip. So to avoid this, you can just simply drag again, and you'll see the highlighted word. And on the top right is the inspector, and this is where you can edit all of your texts. You can change the size, the color, the format, anything you can think of. We want it to be simple though, so I'm just going to type in glass of water as our title and pick some nice lettering for it. Maybe some impact would be good. And I'm also going to change the size. Just simply click on the actual number and type in whatever you like. In this case, I'm going to put in 120. You could also use the slider as well, whichever you prefer. Okay, so now we have our title, Glass of Water. Oh, I didn't like that at all. So the music is very abrupt, and the title goes right into the footage without any fade in or anything like that. But that's okay, because that's what transitions are for. Transitions are very important. They're small little effects you can put between clips to make them fancier. They're on the far right corner right here. You want to click on this little symbol, and you'll have access to tons of different transition effects. We're going to pick the cross dissolve though, since most people use that one. It's very straightforward and very simple. And like the clips, audio, and titles, you can shorten it. Let's see how it looks. Okay, fade in was good, but the music is still abrupt. How do we fix that? Well, just like trimming, we can extend stuff. We can't extend Vino, the music track, on this side at least, so let's drag it to the very beginning, and then extend the end part of the track. Simply just click and drag. Okay, but that still doesn't answer the first question. How do we put fade-ins into the track? Well, pretty straightforward actually. Just like volume adjustment, you could do the same on the left or the right side of the clip. You'll find these little circular buttons on either side, and this is what will allow you to fade in or fade out. Once your cursor looks like two opposing arrows once again, just simply left click and drag. I want it to go to about here. Same goes for the end clip as well. So you know what, let's add an outro. I'm just going to get rid of the title so we have a black frame here, and we're going to extend the music track a little bit further. And make sure that it fades out. Okay, let's see how it looks. There you have it. Okay, so now let me just extend this a little bit just to make sure everything's timed correctly. And of course, me being the expert that I am, I forgot to put a transition at the end here. Now let's see how it looks. And there you have it, a fully edited clip with audio adjustments, a soundtrack, a nice title, and edited clips. You guys now know how to do a basic edit. So now it's time for the final step, which is exporting the footage. First, once you're done editing, it takes the system a while to process all the clips, so you're definitely going to want to render your timeline. So how do you do that? Or, it's automatic. But you could speed up the process by clicking on Modify in the taskbar above and click Render All. Then your clips will begin to render at top speed. This little circle right here won't normally have a check mark in it, but once it does, that's how you know the clips are now rendered. So now that they are, it's time to export our footage. You're going to want to click this little button in the top right corner here. From there, you could choose your options. You can upload to Facebook, YouTube, Vimeo. You can even choose your destination. In this case, however, I just want to make a master file, so we're going to click on that. Okay, now it shows a thumbnail of the clip and all the information right here. Pick a title, anyone you like. In this case, we're just going to call it Glass of Water. Description, this video is about a glass of water. And there's my name and tags if you want to put them in. You can also see how big the file is, what type of file it is, the time, and so on. So now that everything looks like it's in order, it's time to hit next. Now you have to pick a destination. I don't have anything specific. Normally I would put it in a hard drive or something like that, but in this case I'm just going to release it to the desktop. So once you've picked a destination, just click Save. And from there, the upload process begins. Note the circular loading meter. Of course, loading speeds vary depending on how big your file size is, but since this is relatively small, it's going to go pretty quick. And there you have it. A nice brand new video file of a clean edit. And that's the tutorial. You guys now know how to do a basic editing sequence. Thank you very much for joining me on my first episode of Prime Tutorials. I hope you all enjoyed and learned something new. If you're interested in any of my other content or future tutorials, feel free to check out my portfolio at www.vimeo.com/MaximusPrimeFilms. Thanks again for joining me, and have a great day.